All right, fellas, here we are back in a Pokemon Horizons video. This is insane. Okay, I want to just preface this by saying that there's potentially a leak, potentially not confirmed, nothing like that, but potentially a leak on the stuff after the current arc of Pokemon Horizons ends. I want to say I'm going to be covering this. If you don't want that stuff, you don't watch the videos. I'm not going to try and put anything crazy in like the thumbnails or titles or anything in order to like hint at what's happening, at least not that much. So don't, I guess, worry on that front. But like if you don't want like leaks of this stuff, then don't watch the videos. Anyway, Pokemon Horizon stuff. um let's just start by saying that we are currently on arc 4 of Pokemon Horizons. With obviously we had the first 3 arcs. We had the Liko and Roy departure arc, Sparkling of Terrapagos, and then the Terrestrial debut arcs. And then we're currently on the Rayquaza Rising arc, which is pretty insane of an arc, let's be honest with ourselves. And I want to say that this arc should be ending with Horizons 89, which is titled Beyond the Adventure. We don't really know what this means, but this sounds like some kind of finale. Not like we scroll up here and it's like the final episode of the training arc was Liko versus Roy, right? Or like beyond that, it was to a place far, far away. Like this is kind of like a finale episode, but it still like kind of left us like a cliffhanger. And then obviously the one here, Rivals in the Dark Knight. This isn't even like that crazy of a thing, right? Man, this series debuted in 2023 and it's already, damn. Wow. Okay. Anyway, let's just keep on here, I guess. I'm sure. Yeah. It seems that episode 89, Horizons might just be ending. Right, at least the current form of Horizons. Not that the whole anime is going to be ending, but the Rayquaza Rising arc should be ending with Horizons 89, which is the second to last episode. We do still have the 88th episode here, the Shockwaves from the White Zygarde episode. But this leak basically talks about what the next arc of the anime will go into. And they first leak what Roy is going to have as his Pokemon. He is going to have his Crocodile still. He's going to have Kilowattrel, Mega Shiny Lucario, which is apparently, part of the leaks, I guess. Or, like, not the leaks, but, like, the part of the teaser reveal that showed Shiny Mega Lucario for the anime. That's what this is for. And Captain Pikachu. This dude's got a cap? Really? They gave Roy cap. That's very interesting. And I do kind of want to go into that a little bit more, but we'll talk about that later. We've got apparently a new character here that's going to actually use Mega Sableye. Don't know the character's name. I'm not translating this or anything like that, but apparently they're going to be using Mega Sableye, which is interesting. And, another part of Mega stuff, meaning that this arc is probably going to focus around Mega Pokemon, which makes sense. It's going to be probably going more into ZA. It makes sense just because, like, we've been kind of focusing a lot on like terrestrialization and stuff from Scarlet and Violet. With we went to the Crystal Pool. There was the DLC stuff with like Kitakami. Obviously the characters can terrestrialize their Pokemon. There's stuff like that, right? They obviously went a lot of stuff for Scarlet and Violet. It seems that now they're going to be kind of probably phasing into Legends ZA with the existence of Mega Evolution, which is kind of probably what like the shiny not Mega, but the shiny Zygarde is about in the anime. It's kind of like a smooth transition over into Pokemon Legends ZA. I can see something very interesting with that. That is their way of segueing into this new series or new arc or whatever it's going to be. But yeah, new character is going to be using Mega Sableye. Apparently, this is a big one. There's a time skip. These characters are going to be turning into like adolescents, teenagers, like teenage adults, basically, almost, 16 to 17-year-olds. So about that same age range as like Caleb and Serena in X and Y games. This would be like a 4, 5, 6, 7 year glow up for these characters, which is pretty insane because they could be like the 10, 11, 12 range of characters. I would say they're at max 12 years old. So 4 years in the future for this series is insane. That's something we haven't really seen as a time skip, considering Ash has always stayed, 10 years old, right? So I could definitely see this happening. A time skip right after the Rayquaza Rising arc, 4 years into the future. Poor Roy still got a Crocodile, but it is what it is. Of course, they don't want to make too much stuff happen because they're still going to, use these characters, give them the development, stuff like that. So, despite the fact that there's going to be an age gap or like a time skip or something like that, they're not going to like make these characters significantly stronger than, they realistically would be if, they went by plot instead of by just like writing a story. But anyway, whatever. So yeah, 16 to 17 years old, that's insane. Dot will grow and look the most different, which of course Dot's already a very like a very big character in terms of like range of design, because obviously she's got her like her hair down and then her hair up. Obviously very, very different look both ways. So, and obviously her like her outfits could be different, where she's like kind of more closed off with like her jacket on and stuff like that, and then she's obviously got like the under t-shirt, well, I don't know what you would even call it, I forget. But yeah, like the overshirt or whatever. You know, she's already got a very versatile design depending on like what they're kind of trying to do with her, whether it be like a Nito thing video, obviously, or like her just kind of like being like a character in the background. You know, they really do a lot of different stuff with Dot's design, so it makes sense that she would look the most different after a time skip, especially because she's probably got like one of the most unique designs out of all the characters for sure. Liko we already kind of saw a leak that Liko is going to get Meowscarada because of merchandising. Merchandising always pretty much leads into near confirmation of something interesting happening in the anime. Liko's going to get Meowscarada. We also saw it at the very end teaser of last episode, so Meowscarada's cool, right? And apparently Terapagos is in a dormant state in its Pokeball. So we're going to have some very big stuff happen in these next few episodes with Terapagos. It's going to go dormant, you know, kind of expected, honestly. So we're kind of, I guess we're going to focus more on Liko's other Pokemon and less, of course, on Terapagos, like, because it's already reached Laqua, right? So that would make a lot of sense that they are trying to phase out of, you know, going a lot of stuff with Terapagos, even though it is one of, you know, Liko's most important Pokemon. You know, probably the most important Pokemon outside of maybe Meowscarada, right? Or Floragato currently. But hey, I can see it definitely makes sense that they're wanting to kind of transition out of that Scarlet and Violet era into a Legends ZA area and focus more on those like Pokemon, those stories, stuff like that, instead of Terapagos' arc. And then says, don't know what will happen in the future with this frame of Freed. I had actually been wondering about this the last few times I've watched the opening, like for different episodes and whatnot. But if we go to opening 4 of Horizons and we look at the very, very end of it, we will see the frame that this image is kind of referencing here. Yeah, right here. If you go ahead and look at the opening here, you can see this frame here, after Cap's hat, of Freed kind of fading into the distance, which is interesting, which leads me to believe that this is kind of phasing into like why Roy gets Captain Pikachu, is that Freed must be doing something. I don't think Freed's gonna, like, you know, at the worst case die or get sealed or some like the similar shit that happened to Lucius, right? I don't think that's gonna happen to him. I mean, cool character. I could honestly like kind of see them like doing something weird with the guy just because he's the general like, oh, such a cool character. He's got that type of beat, but apparently probably the either Freed or just in general the Rising Volt Tacklers are probably gonna not disappear, I guess, in the next arc. Like they're gonna, you know, go up on like their own adventure or whatever. Like, you know, they're like our main trio is gonna like step away from being a part of the Rising Volt Tacklers and probably do something else. Like I guess you could say similar to like the Terastal Rising arc or whatever the hell, not Rising, Terastal debut arc, like this one where it was just the main characters in the Paldean Academy. They were kind of messing around. There wasn't really too much stuff interference with like the Rising Volt Tacklers Freed and all of them for the most part. Obviously there were still some exceptions, but again, for the most part. But I could see that being now a permanent thing, or at least, you know, a case where it's like they're not going to be appearing in the series often at all. Like we could see maybe, you know, it's similar to how back in the old anime, how like mostly female protagonists from the past generation would return for like a few episodes or like a small mini arc and then like be gone for the rest of the series. For example, how Dawn returned in Unova for a few episodes and then, you know, went back to Sinnoh, and we didn't see her all the way up again until Journeys when they, you know, did all those references. And like how same thing kind of happened to Serena, where she reappeared in Journeys for a few episodes. May reappeared in Sinnoh for a few episodes, you know, stuff like that, right? Like those characters reappear. I think we could see a similar thing happen with the Rising Volt Tackle, where they may like reappear in this arc like once or twice or like for just a few episodes and, you know, just as a nod back to what happened and, you know, be done with it. But for the most part, I could see it just being our 3 main characters here, and that being it alongside the new character with a Mega Sableye, which again apparently they've got, so that's interesting. But yeah, that's mostly what I wanted to talk about. Is like we are ending this Rayquaza Rising arc. Whether this leak is true or not, this arc is pretty much confirmed to be ending here. We could go into a next arc that's going to be like with, you know, still normal age characters and the Rising Volt Tacklers and all that stuff, but like this is a big climactic end. I think there's a lot of loose ends they kind of want to tie up a little bit, but hey, we got 2 episodes. We'll see what they do. Doesn't really matter too much, you know, it's Pokemon. It's not something you should be taking like super seriously in terms of like lore and plot, even though it is really solid around this, this time around with Pokemon Horizons. But it does seem that, the Rayquaza Rising arc is going to be ending, and we're going to be getting this time skip with these new characters, a focus on Mega Evolution with that shiny Mega Lucario and the Mega Sableye, and the new character with a Mega Sableye. Again, most importantly, that time skip there. And Terapagos now being dormant makes it, taking like a side role, or not even like a main role, maybe not even an active role in the entire, series or this next arc that they're going to do, however they're going to cover it. Who's to say? They're just going to completely sideline Terapagos after this, which makes sense. Its arc is done. We're probably going to be focusing on more stuff. I could see us focusing again on that shiny Zygarde here. This boy, this big fella. I could see us really focusing on this guy again here as like the main Pokemon that is either with the characters, or is something that they're kind of like striving to like talk to or do something with, like whatever they like Zygarde ends up doing in these next few episodes. I can see that transitioning over into Legends ZA related stuff in the Pokemon Horizons anime, because again, Terapagos is a Scarlet and Violet focus. They were focusing on Scarlet and Violet as the anime was releasing, obviously. Now they're going to focus more on Legends ZA stuff, so I could see that this Zygarde potentially could be in a similar spot to Terapagos, or like the shiny Rayquaza or something like that in this series, and take up like that big main role instead of like this big quote unquote villainous or like mastermind role that it's been taking here. It could be more of a main focus in the new series, but we'll see. So that's mostly just a quote unquote leak. Obviously, nothing's hyper confirmed. Again, obviously they even say unconfirmed right here. Let's just keep all that stuff in mind, obviously. Roy getting Captain Pikachu, the disappearance, I say, but like the end of the Rising Voltaclers, or, Freed not returning, stuff like that, whatever they end up doing with that is interesting. Obviously, the characters being aged up by like 4 to 7 years is going to be just absolutely nuts. Man, there's a lot of stuff there, but yeah. Let me know what you think about it down in the comments below. Whether you want this to happen with the leak, whether you think you're kind of hyped for it, or you think they're kind of maybe going the wrong way with it. I think a time skip in a Pokemon franchise is very weird, but they can handle it well enough. I mean, we'll just have to see how they go about it, but I do have a little bit of confidence that they know what to do, or like can make it work properly, instead of just making it feel so weird. Because again, time skips are always weird in like a lot of anime, unless it's like kind of focused around it, but we'll see. We'll just see how it goes. Again, let me think about it in the comments below. Good thing or bad thing. Yeah. Peace.